Hello everyone, my name is Allison and today we are doing a tour of my spring 2026 fish tanks. Since I recorded this, I have moved, so all of my tanks are actually quite different from what you'll see in this video, but I still like to document the several phases that my tanks go through. To start off here, we have Rio in his beautiful planted bowl. This tank was a little bit of an accident. I had originally made it for some CPDs and shrimp, and it turned out absolutely fantastic for them. If you watch the previous video that I made for this bowl, you will definitely recognize that it doesn't look quite the same, and that is for a specific reason. My betta fish that you see here in this video is the oldest betta that I have, and if you know anything about bettas, especially longfin ones, they are very prone to disease and genetic issues. And so when his tank started leaking, I did not want to put him in an uncycled tank. I thought it would be too much of a risk for his health. So what I ended up doing was removing any sharp things like the rocks that I previously had in this tank. I moved my CPDs to the 20-gallon long. I moved the shrimp. He just exists in this bowl with a bunch of plants and his little snails, and he is doing so good. I know that having a betta in a bowl is very controversial, but this is a 8-gallon bowl, and as you can see, it is in pristine condition and he is doing quite well. He actually had a stint with fin rot in his old tank, and since I moved him into this new one, he completely grew his fins back. It's always in the place you least expect. My personal opinion on this is that a cycled tank, it will always be better than a uncycled one, and I knew that I would be moving soon, so it just made the most sense to put him in this, and I'm so glad that I did. I think he exists so well in it. He loves it. He's very active. His fins are in great condition, and I just love it. On top of this tank, we do have some red root floaters, and then I have a normal grow light attached to the wall above. For quite a long time, I let this bowl just survive by window light alone, but I really like being able to see into my tanks at night. All the plants on the inside are the same. It's kind of a mixture of some Amazon swords and Helanthrium tenellum, and I think there might be some dwarf sage kind of mixed in there, and the long hair grass I was kind of like phasing out, but overall still very similar, just built for a different fish now. Moving on to my second tank is my second betta. This is Rukia, and she is in a rimless 6.8 gallon shallow. Right now it's mostly just holding, well, her obviously, and then a bunch of extra plants that I have. When I move, I plan on actually creating more of a pond style look with a lot more immersed growth out the back, but for now this is the vibes. It's mostly just sand, some river stone. I have some Limnophila sessiniflora. I've got some Rotala, giant hairgrass, red lotus. There's a bunch of random stems that I just shoved in here. She really likes it. As you can see, she's very active, loves exploring the whole tank. She mostly sits at the front when I'm in front because she is a greedy gal. She really likes food. When I'm not here, she's usually hunting along the floor or hanging out in different corners, but when I'm in the front, she is a beggar, that's for sure. As far as equipment goes, this is a very simplistic setup, exactly what you would expect. There is a small heater in the back. I have this internal filter in the back left corner, and then on the right side I have a grow light, which is the Lamini Asta 20. I know that it's fairly popular. I do enjoy the color on it, but it does make a slight humming noise due to the fan that's built into it. And I personally do not love equipment that makes noise. I don't know if I'm going to continue to use it in the future or not, but the light on it is very good and it really does the job well. I'm just not so sure about the fan noise, so we shall see. But if you don't mind a little bit of a hum, pretty good light. Next up, we have probably one of my favorite tanks, partially because it's hardly a tank at all. In fact, it is a thrifted jar, and this thrifted jar is probably less than a gallon and I simply have aqua soil, shrimp, rotala, and some snails in here, and it's just a joy. I love always finding a good window for it. In this current apartment, I had just put it on my radiator with a little piece of wood under it. Obviously the radiator was off, do not fret. As you can see, the natural sunlight coming through, it's just gorgeous and whimsical. I never do any maintenance on this jar. Surprisingly, I've never had to scrape the sides for algae or anything. It doesn't happen. It requires no maintenance. It's a true ecosystem that's fully established. I just have to do top-ups of water every once in a while. And I occasionally will add some supplemental food if I want them to breed a bit. Sometimes I kind of use this jar as like a shrimp breeder. I think I've had this jar since I basically started fish keeping. Occasionally I consider changing it up, but I just can't bring myself to do it. I think that there is sometimes a certain beauty in the simplicity of just having this container that is just full of green and little tiny creatures in it. 10 out of 10 tank. Would recommend you guys try it out. Next up is my largest tank, which is a 20-gallon long. And at this point in time, it is a community tank. I have a large mix of fish in here. It is definitely overstocked at the moment, which is partially because of the move and partially because of a previous tank leak that had shifted Rio and the CPDs around. I've got a mix of South American and Southeast Asian fish all kind of crammed in here. While it admittedly is overstocked, it is also awesome to watch. I love seeing all the different colors, the different types of fish, and miraculously, everyone gets along so well. It is a botanical style aquarium, and I've got a good mix of Java fern, manzanita wood, I've got peace lily in the back, I've got dwarf sedge on the floor, Brazilian pennywort, and so much water lettuce on top. I think I have just a total mix of seed pods and botanical leaves just floating at the bottom. I maintain water clarity in this tank pretty well, so it's not really a black water tank anymore. It's more of a botanical style. Nature aquarium is what I would call it. And I did upgrade from a hang-on back filter to a canister filter, which was probably my best idea ever, I will say. I got the Oase Thermo 100 and I'm never going back. I love this canister filter. It keeps this tank looking so pristine. I especially love the fact that the heater is built into the canister filter. I just think that that's an awesome feature that it has. And other than that, I just have my lights on top. I have a AQQA large light in the center. That's my actual grow light. And then on the right side, I have a bit of a smaller spotlight that I use for detail. So when I'm taking photos and videos, it really highlights some of the background features. And I just love the way that the spotlight adds to the whole tank. I have several different types of tetra, including rummy nose, black neon tetra, and green neon tetra. I think I might have like one rogue normal neon tetra in there. And then I have some CPDs, and then I think there are 2 to 4 emerald rasbora kind of floating around. They're a bit more shy, so I never really know where they are. And then I of course have my bottom dwellers. I have my coolie loaches. I've got about 4 of those, and 4 corridoras. And in addition, I had recently got some pandagara, which are the most friendly fish I think I've ever met. They fear nothing. Finally, I also have my alien rescue beta. His name is Sebastian. I did make a short form video on him and how I got him, and we went through his recovery. And he is actually pretty healthy now. He is still a very shy fish and gets stressed extremely easily. Like, you can see his stress colors. Like, if I stick my hand in the water, he instantly changes colors and will become very stressed. Now, in the near future, these fish are being split into 2 different tanks. They will be more separated as far as the region they're from versus this community style. I love a community style tank, but if I have the option to have more region based tanks, I will always choose those. Everything is kind of a spectrum when it comes to aquariums, and like how hard and how far do you want to take it as far as, you know, biotips go. I've also got some palm fronds in the back. I know a lot of people have asked me about those before. They are a bit bulkier of a botanical, and they're quite stunning to look at. They're very bold. All of these botanicals that I mentioned through this entire video are going to be from Ben over at Beta Botanicals. I would highly recommend go checking out his website or even just his social media if you're trying to learn. Either way, if you're trying to get your hands on botanicals or just learn about botanicals, he is the expert. So I would highly recommend checking him out. And I know that it's controversial, but I love a rimmed tank, okay? I only have one rimless, and I honestly, the 20-gallon long rimmed tank is just one of my favorite layouts. I think it's the perfect size to create something beautiful, and the frame itself, not only is it more secure, but I think that the way that the black frame goes around, it quite literally frames you up like it is like a television or a picture frame, where it is actually showing you here's where to look. And I just think it's beautiful. To each their own, but I love my rimmed tank, and I don't think I'm going to be switching from it anytime soon. That's this tank. It's awesome, and I will be coming out with a full build video for this in the near future, so keep an eye out for that if you are interested in recreating this kind of look. Last but certainly not least, we have my 5-gallon betta tank. In this tank I have my longfin koi betta named Harvey, specifically Attorney Harvey Dent, and he coexists quite well, surprisingly, with a bunch of fire red shrimp from Apple Shrimps. This tank is pretty simple. It's one of my darker style tanks. It's just some hardwood. I have some random Amazon sword in there. I've got some Anubias, and just any extra little pieces of driftwood are just kind of sporadically placed. I have giant hair grass that kind of reaches for the surface. Of course, I have a few small botanicals hanging out in the bottom, and on the top I have a bunch of floaters, kind of a mix between frogbit, water lettuce, and redroot floaters. My favorite floater to use is always water lettuce, not necessarily because of how it looks above the water, but because of how its roots look below the water. I just love how big they get, and obviously it's only for specific tanks, but tanks like these that are a little bit more wild and darker, I love having the roots coming down from the surface. Not only do the shrimp love to sit in it, but so does my betta. They like to kind of swerve and weave between the roots as well as rest their fins on it. The substrate in this tank is just a base of sand and a little bit of aqua soil underneath. So very basic, and it just works perfectly. This concludes my spring 2026 tour. I hope that you enjoyed getting a little peek into all of my tanks. Believe it or not, all of my tanks do look much different now thanks to the move that I went through back in June. There is actually a video up now on the World of Wasian channel that covers my most up-to-date tanks in the summer of 2026. Go ahead and check his video out, linked at the end of this one, and I will see you guys in my next video.